Hi everyone. Today I will be talking about the Andis Master and how to make it a great cutting and running clipper. And I'm going to start out by letting you listen to this one. And as you can, if you can hear it, it's very low and smooth running, and it's tuned. I mean, it's at its power peak, and as you can see, I'm pressing the cutting blade, and I'm not stopping it. And be careful when you do this, if you do it, because you can't cut yourself. But that's just how good and smooth the thing running in that full potential. And what I'm gonna do is take this blade off and show you a few things about how to check for loud chatter or clatter, clatter, and how to stop that. But before I get into all that, I will also show you how to get your lever, to have it so it won't be too loose or too stiff as well when I take the blade off. Before I remove the blade, I want to show you a few pointers and some of the things that could be causing your loud clatter. For one, it could be your tension screw, which is this. It could be that, and you can adjust it going clockwise. And if you do, and what it does is, it works. This tension screw works hand in hand with the adjusting screw to your blade. This screw does is it moves your cutter blade from left to right. As you know, when you start up an Andis Master, the cutting blade action goes to your right and start to vibrate back and forth. And that's what this screw on the side does. It takes it back and adjusts it back and forth. But the tension screw here, it'll put the tension on your blade. And what I'm trying to say is that the cutter blade will, when you adjust the tension screw not counterclockwise, but clockwise, it put pressure down on your cone blade. But if you go counterclockwise, it loosens it up. And when you do that, what it does is actually if you go clockwise with the tension screw, it causes the blade to give lesser blade strokes. But if you go counterclockwise with it loosens the blade up from the cone blade and causes it to give faster strokes. And sometimes if it's too loose, it'll cause a lot of clatter. And I know a lot of people are always asking how can they fix their masters, from the loud clatter, and that could be one of the reasons. And this is the tension screw. If you turn it clockwise, it will tighten down on the cone blade and stop a lot of that clatter. And like I say again, you can go work this hand in hand, and adjust it properly from left to right. And another thing, if you have a lot of clatter, you see this core, the motor, and down in there, you see that little piece in the center down by the arm there. That, if you drop your Andis Masters, it'll cause this to pop out some, and it'll hit against this arm. And that'll cause a lot of clatter. So what you have to do is with a Phillips screwdriver, take these two screws out, and just take your motor up out of it, lay it over to the side where this will be sitting up. Take both of your thumbs, press down on it, and you'll hear it snap back in place. And they got two little thin like plates on the side and in the middle there, and just loosen them, bend them back out if they need it. But you can just put your motor back in, reassemble it with these two screws, and that should stop your clattering. It'll stop this arm from hitting it. And a lot of people, which I did it, and as you can see, mine was not out of tune, but I ended up taking this pair of needle nose pliers or some scissors, and you screw this all the way in. To unscrew this out, not all the way out, but unscrew it out to where it's almost out. And then what you want to do is turn this all the way in. Once you get it all the way in, once it's tight all the way in, you take it and you turn it back counterclockwise about a quarter of a turn, and that'll stop your clatter as well. That's another way you can stop it. And that's what stopped mine when it started it. And then you just tune it back in, screw this back in, and tune it up. Once you get the, I'm gonna show you an example of that. And I can't do it at the moment. I have the camera in my hand, but anyway, that's another way to stop the loud chatter, I'm gonna show you now. I'm about to take the blade off and show you how to another reason it could be doing this. Before I take the blade off, I want to show you when you do tune the tension screw. You also want to lift this up as well, because what it does is push this blade, the cutter blade on down, put more pressure on the comb blade. So push this as well, because it will not move on its own. So you can adjust this first and push this up with the screwdriver. Just take a lift up on it, and it should be about even, or a little bit above it, or even with this here. And that will cause the blade to come on up, put pressure on it. I removed the comb blade off and still had a cutter blade on it. And this is the way you want your comb blade to be, snug. It's on that snug. And I'm popping it off now. And you see how I just had to pull it away. If you take your comb blade off and your cutter blade just fall off, that will cause a lot of vibration in your clipper too. And that's because these two prongs, these two little forks, they'll from wear and tear from where you've been running your clippers for a while. Sometimes the vibration will cause them to close in. And what you want to do is take a screwdriver, just stick in the middle of them, and a flat-headed, take it and you put it in the middle of that and bend them back out. You can go this way or that way and bend them back out. And when you do that, it'll cause this to snap into place. If I can get that back in with one hand. But you want that to be in snug and tight, the cutter blade. I can't get it with one hand, but that could cause a lot of vibration and clatter as well. And while I have this cutter blade off, I want to also show you when you zero gap, you want your Andis master zero gap. The simplest way to do it is just, which I already removed it. It's a little guard piece that sticks up from here, and you take your pattern, either no pliers or regular pliers, bend it back or either break it off, and that way you can just push the blade on up to a zero gap. But when you do this, be careful, because you don't want to push it up and let the cutter blade overlap the comb blade. So you want to look at it when you want to zero gap it. Before you cut ahead, look at it as you push up, and you'll see that it's zero gap, because you don't want to cut anyone. But also when you do that, make sure your lever is stiff, sort of stiff like this. Don't have it too loose, because if it's loose, it will cause the blade sometimes to adjust on its own, and that cutter blade the comb blade will push back on its own when it's let in. It can cause the cutter blade to overlap and still cut someone. And how you want to get that to be stiff for these 4 screws here, you tighten those up just good enough to where it's stiff, because you don't want it too tight. If it's too tight, you won't be able to adjust this. But you don't want it loose as well. You just want it firm, where you have to put a little pressure on it to cause it to move. And you do that by these 4 screws. And that'll give you a stiff the lever stiff to keep it from cutting anyone, causing anyone harm. So that's one way of zero gapping your blade, and it's simple. A lot of people would do it this way, but this way here really just pushes up to a point where it's not zero gap. So the simple way of doing it is just by popping this piece off, and you have a zero gap Andis master, and it still runs smooth and cut great. And I've been did this like 2 years ago, and never had any problems out of it. And as you can see, it still runs great. Excuse me. And that's another way of having a good cutting, smooth running Andis masters. And if you and all the things I just talked about, if they don't work, the last resort will be to go to this. Like I said, just screw it all the way in and do that. But you know, try to stay away. Let that be your last resort. And that gonna conclude everything about your Andis Masters. Until the next time, peace. Before I go, I just want to show you that I reassembled the clipper, and you can see the notches on the side. You leave it directly over the first one to where this is zero gap, and it's perfectly zero gap. No pinching or anything on the skin when you touch the scalp, and it's perfectly zero gap. Still have a full length. Still running great. Barrel can hear it run, and it's powerful. That's it. Till the next time, peace.